Hello, sisters and brothers. Eddie Marcus here. You know, I want to share something with you. Each time I started this video, something happened to prevent me from saying it. Each time I said it, I thought I said it magnificently. Now here I am, got to repeat it for the third time. But let me repeat it. I want to say to black people, we have considered ourselves the original people, children of God. What does that mean? I don't know how we got here on this country, on this continent, but one of the stories is that we came on slave ships and we've been treated as slaves. And they passed some laws to say they were ending slavery, but then they reduced it to, or should I say upgraded, or remaining the same as second-class citizens. It's been that way ever since. Nothing has changed, and I can't understand why. Our politicians, what we've actually done is just replace the bodies filled by whites. Our condition doesn't change, and if it is, it's so minute till it takes about a decade for us to feel any of it, and by that time they're ready to call a redress. Like, see if you still can be treated as citizens. Can you still vote? We have to pass laws and revisit that for you, for second-class citizens, for us. We don't do it for white people, but something is wrong with this picture, and I can't understand this. And let me say to you white people, you know that you and I, black and white, require the same sustenance for survival. We didn't make ourselves, you didn't make yourself, we didn't make ourselves, and yet we require the same stuff for survival. And you and I both know that we own nothing that was given to us freely as the earth. We got our name titles on it, and all partialed out, but we don't own the earth. All of the resources of the earth, oil, mineral, whatever the minerals are, whatever that is here naturally, it belongs to the power that put it here. And why? For the benefit of those that can use it. That means any living thing or dead thing that can benefit from the earth, whether it's above, on it, in it, seen or unseen. It's designed for that purpose. And yet we find ourselves going through all kinds of changes. So I'm asking you white people, what's wrong with you that makes your expression, your indulgence in life's process end up the way it is? What's wrong with that? And I also want to say to you preachers, you talk about a God, someone that is above all, is the creator of the earth, is the reason all of the resources exist, is the reason we're here, is so powerful, is love. And we are drenched with that love. And yet, all around us is crime and violence, lying and cheating, poverty, and all this. What's up with that? I know what's up with that. It's a scam, and we don't know it. We haven't known it. It's a scam. What I mean by a scam? I mean somebody's pulling the wool over our eyes. They are directing us where they want us to go. And it started in the beginning, and we've just followed suit. There's no difference in us, we the American people today, than the Jews when they were victims in Germany. Or there's no difference between we, the American people, and the German people who were doing this to the Jew, or to the other Jew. We'll just say Jew. I don't really know what's going on there, but you know what I'm talking about. There's no difference between us, the American people, and the people right now that is in Russia, that permits Russia to go in and assault the Ukrainians the way they're doing. There's no difference in us. No difference in us at all. Look at the white people in this country who are pissed off with Donald Trump because he's taking this thing so far. And they are acting like they care. They care so much they want to stand up for a Democrat. But I'm asking you, where did that come from? Do you know what happens? Do you know when blacks are being shot down in the streets just because they are black? You know, these people, white people, not stopping it. They're not concerned about it enough to say we're going to end this kind of stuff. When crime and violence and guns and all of the ugliness is happening around America and around the world, people say yes, 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 but nobody's doing anything about it. Why are you not doing anything about it? Got to be a couple of reasons. One, you don't know what to do about it. or you're afraid. You're afraid because to do something about it, it might cost you something. It's going to penalize you. You might lose your job if you got one. You might be blackballed, if that's possible. You may be put in jail or put in prison for what you're doing. Because what? We have established a system that is anti-righteousness, and we as the people are going along with it. I sit there and I watch the social media. I watch MSNBC, I watch CNN, and I watch Fox, and I watch all of these people grabbing on some form or some piece, some tag of what's going on in the world. And none of them talks about a solution. None of them. I'm asking the people who always criticize them, how many of you can say to yourself that you're going to commit your life to protect your children? And by protecting your children, you mean by doing those things that are righteous enough to affect everybody. You're going to make sure that your children have something to eat, that as long as they live, they're going to have food. And how do you guarantee that to your children? By making sure that nobody else is denied any. You're going to guarantee to your children that they're going to have a decent form of living, housing that's fantastically accepted by them, by the individual, not everybody, but what you want. You're going to guarantee that to your children by guaranteeing that nothing sees or denies anyone else the same thing, that they can have access to their housing. And all of those things that are important, education and health care, transportation, you're going to guarantee that your kids, your grandkids are going to get the best by providing for them today, by changing the system that will permit that to happen. And it's easy, my friends. It's so doggone easy, it's a crying shame. All you got to do is get rid of this one who wants to be the boss. This one that claims to know more than anything else. Like, you remember a few years ago, there was a man came to America and said he and he alone can fix it. There was a man that came to America, wanted to be president of the United States, and told everybody he was a genius. His whole family basically are geniuses. There was a man that came to America and wanted to be president of the United States. And he said he knew more about the enemy of America than the generals who had been fighting war against the enemies. He said he knew more about how to build stuff than any builder, any contractor, any engineer. He knew more than anybody. And he jumped on this here plane and he tried to change the system and create another system. And everything he was talking about building was built on deception. It was built on saying somebody else was stealing while he was stealing. It was built on saying somebody else was lying while he was lying. Everything was the reverse. And the American people bought it. I mean, millions and millions of Americans have bought that. Tell me, America, how in the world could something like that happen? Now you're fighting, trying to see if you can win the people to come back to where this monster was created in the normal American way, rather than say, oh, we're going to change. We're going to be better than we've ever been. If they want to take us so far down and treat us so close to hellishness, then we the American people say this, we're going to take ourselves as close to heaven as we possibly can. Why can't we say that? Why are we still trying to wallow in the mud? Wallowing in the mud, just don't want to sink, but still wallowing in the mud. How come we can't stand up? Wallowing in the mud. Wallowing in the mud. Anyway, these are the kinds of things that stay on my mind. And I can't understand why people who say they've been gifted to provide medical care to people who are in need of it, why do you just accept doing this for people for money? People who come up with medication, something to treat a situation that's causing so much pain and suffering to others. Oh, but you can't do it unless you get money. And you say you can't do anything in this world today unless you got money or its equivalent. And through this process, you got the richest people in the world. You got a 1% that's not so bad, and the rest of the nation, the rest of the human race is gone straight down the bucket. And the rest of the human race, allowing it to happen. How in the world, people of the world, how can you let 1% choke you? Choke the life out of you? Come on. Look, let me tell you the secret. The secret to winning stuff like this is die. Don't be stand up for what's right to the point that you let them kill you. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you the way to do it. You knew that this was not going to be easy. When you came into the world, you didn't know anything about it. It took you a long time before you even knew you were here. Well, it's the same thing, my friends. Going out of the world is the same thing. You're leaving here going somewhere else. Your body didn't always have you in it. It was a while before your body had you in it. And there's going to come a time when you're going to leave it, that body. But just like you came here, you're going somewhere. If you don't know that, just believe it. It'll help you along this way. Just believe it. It'll help you along this way. And while you're believing it, stand up for the beauty of life. Let me tell you, in America, white people want to be God. Okay? Then you can tell they want to be God because in the book, they put a picture of a white man and they're playing God. Now, they say God was fantastic. White people ain't fantastic. So that tells you that they are not God. Now, you have heard it said that in other places of the world, they got a black picture of representing God. Well, not God, you know what I'm talking about, but representing. But is it any different? There's pain and suffering there too. So what does it say about what we think about God? It's saying we both missing it. As long as this pain and suffering is here, we are both missing it. And I ask you this, who amongst you, when you plan systems, when you plan way of life and socialization, when you plan it, how many of you go back and say, well, everybody would have housing, check. Everybody would have food, check. Everybody would have education, check. Everybody would have health care, check. Everybody would have transportation, check. Everybody would have peace, check. Everybody would have freedom, check. Everybody would be prosperous, check. Everybody will have joy, check. Everybody will have their dreams come true, check. And guaranteed by what? All of the resources used to fulfill this are here, given. And all we got to do, who are blessed by it, is to engage ourselves in a career, a job, whatever you want to call it, in the process of creating enough of all of that, that nobody's without it. And I ask you, what the hell does money got to do with it? You know what money got to do with it? To keep you screwed up. And as long as you're itching and got to have that money, you will always be in hell. Because that's what it represents, hell. Well, I think that's long enough. Talk to you later.